Van Aert leads it out. Brennan's way too deep. Van Poppel brings him up inside. Varenshold launches on the barrier. He moves out of the barrier a bit. Van Poppel's like, can I go under the barrier, underneath you to the barrier side? He's like, no, because Varenshold closes it. He opens out to the right. It's a bend finish, of course. And then he goes to the dash line. There's a gap between Varenshold and Van Poppel. Brennan goes to hit the gap. Van Poppel then moves left like a foot. And then Varenshold moves right a foot, and Brennan starts to get squeezed, and then Van Poppel moves another 2 feet left, all the way to in front of where Varenshold was.
What is a foot? When you were like American distances? Or the length of a foot, you mean?
It was 12 inches.
Okay, I have no clue what that means.
It's a ruler. It's a 30-centimeter ruler.
Okay, so... just to be clear, this is one of the clearest deviations of the year, in my opinion.
Oh, really?
Danny Van Poppel clearly deviates, clearly endangers, nearly crashes 2 people. Well, crashes 1 person that would eventually also lead to a second crash. It is not Wynand-Scult that moves to the right. It is clearly Van Poppel that moves from the middle of the road all the way to the left. In doing so, nearly crashing. Well, he had to stop pedaling. He had to stop sprinting literally to not crash Brennan. So that is what we are seeing here. So that is always a relegation, and on paper, considering the UCI rules say that yellow cards are given in dangerous moments like the sprint deviation that is dangerous, also a yellow card. That is also what happens. The UCI gives that out, gives the yellow card, gives the relegation. Actually, gives the relegation. I'm not sure about the yellow card. I assume they gave a yellow card there. Now, that's fine. That's all good. That's all great. I do have to hammer very hard on this. The fact that Danny Van Poppel has been relegated 5 times this year. Once at the Tour Down Under, once at the UAE Tour, twice at the Tour de France, and now at the Deutschland Tour, resulting in 4 yellow cards.
Wait, which one? Which stage? Which was the second stage in the Tour?
I don't know the second one, but the first one was in week 1. I'm going off the information of a certain podcast producer that I will not name because I don't want to shame him, but second and third stage, says Luke. One was an intermediate, he says.
Where he got declassed at the intermediate on the second stage.
If I recall, yes. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's 4 or 5 relegations.
It does matter because, then
there's no change in the yellow card rules anyway, regardless whether it's 4 or
if
5.
he got 2 in the Tour, he would have got kicked out of the Tour on stage 3.
Yeah, he didn't get 2 yellow cards. He got 2 relegations.
Yeah, but then how do you not get a yellow for the first relegation?
I'm not the guy that didn't give the yellow card.
I'm just speaking out loud. Anyway, 5 relegations, that's got to be a record, right? In the modern era. Yeah.
Even Jasper Philipsen, peak dirtiness, does not reach that.
No, 5 relegations. That's like half your sprints.
Yeah.
You're getting a relegation.
And it's also not that he's getting a yellow card, for example, for throwing a beat on to a person by the side of the road or dangerously getting rid of a beat on. He does it by sprint deviations every single time. And every single time, it's also an accurately given one. So for the people that don't remember, if you get 2 yellow cards within 1 day race or a stage race, you get a disqualification or a 7-day suspension. If you get 3 yellow cards within a 30-day period, you get a 14-day suspension. If you get 6 yellow cards within a 1-year period, you get a 30-day suspension. He's actually on the way at current tempo to get that 30-day suspension at the end of the year. But the fact that someone can get 4 yellow cards and 5 relegations in 8 months shows to me that the system is not working. I've done a complete deep dive on my channel, sorry for the promo, where I looked at what the system could be, and my proposal, Patrick, was yellow cards expire after 365 days, is rule 1 of my new system.
Yep.
2 yellow cards in 30 days is a disqualification and a 14-day suspension. 3 yellow cards in 90 days is a disqualification and a 30-day suspension. 4 yellow cards in 365 days is a disqualification and a 30-day suspension. Because they stack it. It's not like if you...
No, I think what'd you say, 330? 3 gives you 30 days?
3 in 90 days. 3 but they stack.
Yeah, but I think the fourth one, then it should get exponentially worse.
But it
Or
gets
logarithmically worse.
What?
No, like, I mean, the fourth one, you should be sitting for 6 months almost. Because, listen, Danny Van Poppel, he does not think he did anything wrong. He doesn't.
That is correct.
And you can see him arguing with the commissaire. He knew, because he didn't celebrate after the finish. He really didn't celebrate after the line when he stopped. He was sure that they were going to look at it. He knew.
Yeah.
But he really, in his heart of it, he does not think he did anything wrong. And he will not change his behavior because people say you should stop doing that and it's not very nice.
Yeah.
Because he's been doing it since he made Lund Andersen lose a race in Tour Down Under. He's been doing it all year. The only thing that would have stopped Van Poppel closing that door today and sprinting in a straight line is if he thinks he has to sit for 3 months after.
Yeah.
That's the only... Because what did he lose by doing it today?
Well, a victory?
No. If he doesn't do it, he loses.
That's true. Because if he doesn't do it, Brennan will win. Brennan had
What
so
do you
much
lose?
momentum, he would always win that sprint if that gap stays there.
So all he does is he's like, okay, game theory,
Yeah.
maybe I got a good commissaire today. I make it 50-50 and 50% they don't relegate me, 50% they do. If I don't move, I lose 100%. So I should just move. The only thing that will stop him doing that is a proper sanction. And I think the yellow card system actually is working really well. Both Benji and I retired. We retired from the deviation police because
clearly not.
No, but they did the relegation correctly. Like,
Yeah.
I do think there is an argument to be made. Where did Van Poppel establish his line? Because he was still moving right, but then he moves the extra move left in front of Varnschol's line is like, no, you can't do that.
But I disagree with you that you say, oh, the yellow card system is working properly. It is not working properly if the punishments are not incentivizing riders not to do it.
Yeah.
Because Van Poppel is clearly not incentivized to do safer sprints, to not endanger fellow sprinters.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just, the little move left, you have to have some margin that people can sprint at 60 side by side. And Varnschol does
always.
also squeeze. Varnschol also does squeeze Brennan right.
And the context matters of every single sprint. For example, if you have to go around someone to avoid a crash, for example, that's a completely different situation than Van Poppel, who is in the middle of the road, goes left. In doing so, nearly crashing Brennan, who's clearly going to go through that gap and is already next to Van Poppel when he does it. That's a rulebook clear deviation. But
yeah, I agree.
There's one person that doesn't think so. And I don't want to be harsh, but it's probably the most out of touch thing I've seen all day. Tadej Pogacar posted an Instagram story saying, the clear winner of today's stage, these relegations are absolute jokes and not correct. Job done poorly like so many times this year. Congratulations, Danny Van Poppel, you won. With a picture of Danny Van Poppel. That is, oh my God, like this is the clearest relegation, one of the clearest of the entire year. To me, this looks like Tadej Pogacar is salty about Rui Oliveira, who... That was a questionable relegation at the Tour of Slovenia.
It was so funny. It was so funny because he did it so on purpose and he was going to win anyway.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to win, but I want to make sure I only win by deviating.
But I have to say...
Luke is saying he's salty because Varnschol gets more bonus seconds on Narvaez. If Van Poppel didn't deviate, Varnschol would have got 4 bonus seconds instead of 6 because Brennan would have won, Van Poppel would have been second, and maybe even Watson would have been third. Varnschol was going backwards. So the deviation actually cost Narvaez. I would say the most out of touch thing I've seen is turning up to a UCI event with a jersey that says, don't take photos of me. I
think it's okay that a rider doesn't necessarily want to take pictures with every single person, stuff like that. But I have to say, what was very Auralus was the switch from the first jersey that said "Do Not Disturb," which was obvious. You could clearly see "Do Not Disturb" on that shirt, to the second one, which was like artsy, and I couldn't read a thing about it. So if I'm there, I could not read that says "Do Not Disturb." That was so unclear. So I think Pogacar needs to go back to the Aura mode and goes back to the fast kit, because that one will make it more clear that he doesn't
The
want to go
World
on
Champs
pictures
kit
with
has a
fans.
lot of aura, I would say.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
true.
pretty aura-full kit.
Then
Back
people
to
will take pictures with him. So I understand that he might not want people to, every 5 minutes during a training ride, interrupt him for a picture.
no, but it's at a race. Like anyway,
Yeah.
that's an aside.
But this Instagram story, Jesus, so out of touch. I have to say it. Like, a borderline clueless.
Is he friends with Van Poppel because he lives in Monaco?
I don't know. I don't care. This is my opinion on the story.
Yeah. Anyway, what was I going to say? Varshold. Oh, before on the yellows, I think the yellow card system has been very good. I think the way they're policing relegations this year is much stricter. But
That's
they
correct.
do. But like we said at the start, like we said in January, and I think it's correct that they brought it in like a bit too lenient. It's better to have it too lenient than have it like too strict. Unintended consequences of a new rule, and then a guy sitting for 6 months who threw a bid on in the into some bushes twice. Like that will obviously be ridiculous. But I do think they need to. Yeah, if you're getting 4 yellow cards in 6 months, because like Van Poppel still doesn't sit from a race, right?
No.
Like, so
Correct.
why, like I said with the game, he will not, you have to make it a bit stricter. Because as I say, if you ask him honestly, and I believe honestly, he thinks that is part of sprinting. And so he will not change.
The punishments for yellow cards should be harsher, and they should not expire. For example, if I get 2 yellow cards in 30
They shouldn't
days,
expire.
they should not expire because I have a 14 days. Hey, what is it? Sorry, I need to go up to my list here. If I have 2 yellow cards in the Tour de France, for example, and I get disqualified from the Tour de France with a 7-day suspension, if I get another yellow card 2 days after the Tour de France, then I'm sorry, but then I should be getting the extra 14-day suspension, because now you're back on 1 because you reset once you get the suspension.
Yeah,
that should not happen.
I don't think they should they should only reset at the end of the season.
And how long does a yellow card currently last outside of that?
Well, 12 months, running 12 months maybe, but then you got off season.
12 months for the year rule, yeah.
Anyway, the man that could not believe his luck in Germany is Søren Varshold.
Yeah.
Because he was isolated with 80Ks to go. He had UAE and Visma with their full teams. No one attacked him. And then he was going to lose the sprint and lose all bonus seconds.
Yeah.
And Narvaez was going to just hang on on level on time. And then Van Poppel stops Brennan and gets relegated, and wins the stage.